Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman by heading over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Now you think, because your mommy and your daddy got shot, you know about the ugly side of life, but you don't. You've never tasted desperate. You're Bruce Wayne, the Prince of Gotham. You'd have to go 1,000 miles to meet someone who didn't know your name. So don't come down here with your anger, trying to prove something to yourself. This is a world you never understand, and you always fear what you don't understand.
I'm Tom.
I'm Jeff.
What? No,
That's
we're
not
not.
right.
No, but you know what is true?
We do
We
watch
watch
Batman.
Batman.
We absolutely do, yeah.
Oh, and we are doing a very special episode.
Yeah, we're getting into the, as you guys who have been listening have known, we just finished the animated series, season 1 of the animated series.
Yes, we did, and boy, that was a real roller coaster of
There
fun.
were some highs and lows.
It's a marathon.
Yeah,
when you're doing
there were
14
some-
weeks.
Yeah, it was
I don't even know.
fucking 3.5 months. There were some trash bullocks.
Yeah.
And then there was also some irritating mayor's children. Anyway,
Wiener kids.
yeah, a lot of wiener kids. Oh, that what
What
was his name? I got Batman in my basement.
Oh, the psychopath,
who-
Sherman.
Sherman. Yeah.
Oh, you little bastard! That kid. Anyway, so now we're gonna get into a little less fantastical,
A little less.
and a little more. Hey, that's cool.
Yeah. We're getting into the Nolan film.
The Nolanverse.
The Nolan reboot of the Batman franchise with Batman Begins.
We're gonna be doing
2005.
Yeah. Which I remember the previews for this at Wizard World Chicago in 2004.
Oh,
I
you
remember that was like they flashed.
yeah. Yeah, I remember the build up.
And so this is our part 1
Yeah.
for
we're good.
Batman Begins.
Yeah, why don't you I'm kind of
Yeah, I'm in it.
rambling. Why don't you tell us?
I'm
what
ready
we're
for it. All right, so we got part 1 of Batman Begins. If you are listening to this, you are either a patron of Gamefully Unemployed, so thank you, or we have decided that we are going to release part 1 of our Batman Begins episodes for free. So we're giving you this because we love you,
Mm-hmm.
we cherish you, and we want you to know how much fun this show is.
Yeah, and we want you guys to be in on it.
Yeah, it's this is a project one of the projects I'm the most proud of, and I'm really enjoying this. So we're gonna talk about Batman Begins,
Mm-hmm.
and first and foremost, and I don't know if you noticed this, the first scene of this whole movie is the cave, and it's like, oh, good, we got this again. Good, more cave. Let's get more cave.
Right back into the cave. Well, this was. I mean, it kind of makes sense because we had come out. What was the last movie that we had Batman in was Batman and Robin in '97, which left a real bitter taste in people's mouths.
Real fun choice.
Yeah.
And so they're like, all right, Batman Begins. Here we go. We have the cave scene. Good to know we won't escape it. Fantastic. And then he wakes up in prison.
Yeah, and I think the way for those who of you who are just joining us, the way we do business is Jeff and I each pick about 3 main things that we want to talk about for each thing of Batman that we watch. And we start right off in my first thing.
Do you
which
have
is-
one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne's plan to learn about criminality is completely insane.
It makes zero sense. But I mean, it's misguided.
Yeah, he goes to get arrested abroad. Like,
Well, he
that's
doesn't
his
go to get
plan.
arrested. No, he got arrested by stealing Wayne Tech.
Yeah.
However, he's really on a micro scale here.
Right. I don't like, and he's just kind of happy to be like in a Tibetan jail, beating up the same gang every day.
First off, what a lucky guy,
Yeah.
because he is in karate jail.
Truly, yeah.
He's in
like
karate jail.
surrounded by Cobra Kai.
But right near a very good karate resort that he will be going to very soon. This is a very karate heavy.
Within walking distance.
It's within a short walking distance. First and foremost, I also want to bring up the fact that this movie is post Machinist.
It is.
Where he brought himself down to like
97
pounds or something like that. And now he is a thick 220.
Yeah, he's
which
like
is
220, 230.
Which means that he's probably going to die for this movie.
Right, he put himself through serious system shock.
One of the fun things about the Christian Bale acting aspect of this is that, boy, he loves wearing scummy costumes. Christian Bale, he's like, can you make me look like a piece of shit in this movie?
Right.
All right, cool.
Can you make me look like I rolled around underneath an old stove?
Yeah. What about like an old dog turd? Can you make me look like an old bearded dog turd? Yeah, but he's in karate
like
jail.
The stuff that accumulated underneath E.T. when he was lying dried up in that ditch.
Yeah, and then so we basically get they're gonna beat up Bruce Wayne for some reason we don't know because he's white. Who knows?
Well,
that's actually reverse racism.
it's jumping ahead a little bit, but we see that after he talks to Falcone and it's like, he's like, you're never gonna understand. You fear what you don't understand.
Yeah.
So then he he decides to hop on a freighter and go.
This is a very Memento style of jumping around,
Kind of.
where Nolan is really this movie has flashbacks and flashbacks.
The first half definitely is like a series of layered flashbacks.
It's not dizzying because the narrative is easily followable.
Mhm.
But like it starts as a kid, then it cuts to him in karate jail, and then he goes to solitary. It's one of the things about Christopher Nolan is that he's a guy that you have to understand all the tumblers need to fall into place for his plots to make sense. Like he's in karate jail and he beats up karate prisoners. And then he gets put into solitary for protection. And then they do the bit. And he's like, I don't need protection. And they're like, oh, for them. And we're like, oh, because we get it.
Yeah. Because I worked him over so hard because I'm Batman.
Yeah. And then he goes to solitary karate cell. And then Liam Neeson's
Private
there.
karate jail.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson's just hanging out
Liam
there.
Neeson's just there. And I'm going to talk about one of my things first.
Sure.
Which is Ra's al Ghul is the perfect choice as your arching villain, as your threaded villain throughout the entire series, because Ra's al Ghul, as far as Batman villains goes, is the only one with a plan.
Pretty much, he's the only one that has like a long-term goal.
Everybody else, every other villain in the Batman universe is pretty much reactionary.
Yeah, and they commit targeted themed crimes.
Yeah, they're all like, let's rob the 2 banks. And
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal all the number 2s. It's like, what are you, a Sesame Street character? But with Ra's al Ghul, what you have is somebody who basically in the comics as well, and even in the cartoons, is like, I have an overarching sort of doomsday plot.
Yeah.
And they transfer it to through Christopher Nolan very well. Liam Neeson is flawless as the Ducard / spoiler alert, Ra's al Ghul character. And in my opinion, if Heath Ledger didn't do so great in the next movie, we'd be saying, oh, Liam Neeson's probably the best Bat villain who's ever lived. I honestly feel that. Because
that might be true. Heath Ledger does end up stealing a lot of his thunder, but I mean, Liam Neeson, and I mean, even in fucking The Phantom Menace, like every movie he's in, he elevates it, like it's like he's
really
his
good.
Presence. Yeah,
I like the fact too that he became a badass at like 48.
Right.
Like there wasn't Liam Neeson was doing Irish romance movies and stuff like that, and then everyone's realized like this guy looks like an abusive dad. We should use that. and he's such a badass. Like he does the sort of like he sort of is the Bruce Wayne prototype in this, where he's like the charming, debonair, well-suited guy, and then when it comes down to the real hardcore shit, he is fucking people up. Like he's fucking Bruce up.
Yeah, that's true. That is like the movie is basically Bruce trying to become Ra's al Ghul, but like not.
Yeah, be like the good version, the heads to the tails.
Right.
And he's like, if you want to come join us, go pick some scare flowers.
Go find some fright flowers out there in the mountains and bring them to this house.
And
in the mountains.
And he does.
Yeah.
Bruce
his whole journey in the beginning here is just madness. Like
it's low-key insanity.
What is he doing? Like in the comics, like he goes out to like learn all the martial arts in the world or whatever, but that's not really like, we never get a sense of what his actual goal was, except like later on we get sort of a montage where it's like, I learned to live among the criminals.
I think
you had to do that. And
I think what Nolan gives is he delivers focus, using Ra's al Ghul as the sort of binoculars to be like, this is your focus that you need. And he does that. He says you're doing stuff on a tiny scale.
It's aimless on purpose.
And he's saying at first, because in the prison cell, he's like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah.
You're just sitting there, and he's literally calling him out for sucking at what he's doing. And he's like, I'll show you how to do the real thing. And he brings him on a very fascist direction.
He sure does.
And then, so we go, well, the direction involves Ken Watanabe.
Which is great.
As in an entirely overcast. I don't know how you'd say wasting Ken Watanabe.
You would say it like that.
Is that
you
it?
would just say it as wasting Ken
You know,
Watanabe.
Academy Award winner Ken Watanabe?
Nominee. He didn't.
Oh,
win.
nominee. He
But
should have won.
He should have
So
won.
good.
It's. I wanted to say when Ducard / Ra's al Ghul calls in, he calls when he appears in the cell, he calls him Mr. Wayne.
Yeah.
And he's like, "How do you know my name?" And it's like, the head of the karate gang called you Rich Man. Like, they clearly know who you are.
Everyone
knows who you are.
Bruce makes no efforts to hide his tracks. For a movie that is spent with literal dialogue about hiding your tracks,
Yeah.
Bruce ignores the shit out of that.
Yeah, he just kind of walks around with his face, like his famous face hanging out everywhere.
Yeah, like you can't be like Brad Pitt and be in a karate gang. Like, it's not gonna. People are gonna be like, "Are you the guy?"
Yeah, you can't like just hope to vanish in like a jail in the Chinese wilderness or wherever they are.
That's not gonna. Yeah, they're Mongolia or something like that.
Nepal.
Yeah,
it's Uncharted 2 is where he is.
Yeah, they give us that sort of Nepal vibe when he hits the Flagtown, USA. Or, when he goes up there.
Yeah.
It's first off, this the scale of this movie and the scope is gorgeous. Like,
yeah, no, it all
it's
looks
really,
great.
really
And he
great.
comes. Nolan actually comes back to these ice fields for
a lot of stuff.
Inception, I think,
Probably.
and then I think also Interstellar.
Yeah. So you have a red herring in Ken Watanabe's Ra's al Ghul.
Nolan Mandarins us like 10 years before Mandarin.
And again, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it because I remember in the hype train leading up to this movie, I was like, oh, Ken Watanabe is playing Ra's al Ghul. That's great.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know who Ducard was.
Exactly. That's actually a really good red herring, minus the fact that you may be sort of whitewashing another character. Because Ra's al Ghul is considered, I believe he's Middle Eastern. Is that right?
I'm not sure.
Or
somebody out there listening is yelling at us about it right now.
Yeah, I feel it. He's from like Jordan or something. Or, like I always felt like he's very like, he's like, let's fight in the deserts. It's like, okay.
Cool, man.
It's like the famous sword fight in the desert from the comics and everything like that. But they gave it to Ken Watanabe and they're like, no, just kidding. And then you have actually a really great scene, which is as soon as he gets up there and Liam Neeson just beats the ever-living shit out of him.
Kicks the hell out of him.
And calling him out on all the stuff he's trying. And he's like, this ain't going to work.
Yeah. Tiger. I fucking love that scene. It's so goofy.
It's
like
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But
this is not a dance.
But it
kicks him
it
down.
works because
It
he's really being like, hey man, you're gonna get fucked up if you think things are gonna be fair.
Right.
Like you think, and he really does a lot throughout these training scenes to provoke Bruce to get angry purposely.
Yeah.
And it's done so well. I have a lot of thoughts on this movie, and they're not all amazing, but I will say this.
Yeah.
From a full-on, now that I've removed myself from the Nolan verse and I can look at it objectively, this is the best one.
I think so. It's also kind of the slowest watch, in my opinion.
It's the slowest burn because it has to be, because you're setting up a character.
Because you're setting up. It's also I think it's the only Batman movie that takes place pretty much entirely within Bruce's point of view.
I would think so, yeah.
Like all the other movies in the Nolan movies,
almost, yeah. I'd say it's 80%.
You get some stuff where it goes off into Katie Holmes and Gordon's characters, but it's all still like they're all still within like Batman.
It's all focused on that.
Same. They're all working toward the same goal. It's not like in a Dark Knight where you're switching back and forth between him and the Joker and Harvey Dent, or then there's like fucking 15 main characters in Dark Knight Rises. It's what always happens in Batman movies is as the sequels progress, Batman Bruce himself becomes more and more diminished as a character.
Oh, he's the least interesting part of these movies.
Except in this movie.
True, but even then, I think the Liam Neeson character gets less time, but is a much more interesting.
Maybe I think
or maybe it's just better acted and has better lines. Like the Bruce character, the lines are good, but they have to be Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
and it's very interesting. It's weird, and we're gonna get because we do another flashback to the cave save.
Yeah,
where he falls in the cave and then Thomas Wayne rappels down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
sure. There's a lot of
Alfred's up there just holding it into the line. There's a lot of
and then they go into like the train scene where it's it's him being like, "Here's how great we are," and it's just like a straight up dialogue of the Waynes explaining how great they are.
Yeah.
It's a very you got to put this in there. That makes sense. He's a doctor, but also they're rich. Or like crazy rich. How is that?
He's a doctor, but also like an insanely wealthy philanthropist who also owns like a technology company.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is like, we inherited this, but I inherited this fortune, but my job is to be a doctor, so I leave this to better people. Remember, he goes, "We leave it to better people," and he's like, "Better," and he's like, "Well, Rutger Hauer," and then it's like. I mean, define better. We put Rutger Hauer in charge of stuff. It's nice to see Rutger Hauer shaved and in a suit, by the way.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that he got a role where he's not a fucking lunatic.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's just a white... Like,
he's
imagine...
not hobo with a shotgun.
Rutger Hauer, come to our show, come to our movie, come to Batman Begins. We're going to sit you down in the makeup chair, and what we're going to do is we're going to make you look nice.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "I will do this movie for free.
We're going to make you not look like a crazy werewolf man."
Yeah, you're not going to have...
blind swordsman.
Yeah, it's... Rutger Hauer must have been just so relieved.
I think, because I know the story behind it is Nolan sat his people down his crew down before they started filming and made everybody watch Blade Runner because he wanted to match the look of Blade Runner.
And I think they do an okay job.
Yeah, this I can see what he was getting
the
at.
Rain and the dark and
all the city scenes in Gotham are very Blade Runner.
They're very like if Blade Runner was Chicago in 2004.
Right, if Blade Runner was a shanty town.
Yeah.
Because they're all, if you notice, like particularly in the scene where we'll get to it in episode 2, but where Scarecrow just fucking kicks his ass. And he's like falling, flaming out the window.
Next week, when you hear the next week's episode, I have
so
much to talk about that. I'm really excited about that.
But it's like Gotham's like a vertical shanty town.
Yeah, it's the stacks.
Yeah, it is. It's the fucking Ready Player One.
Yeah. I think when the murder scene, which I guess is necessary, but probably not necessary for another 30 years of Batman movies.
No.
But it's funny because in this one, it's the opera instead of the movies.
Instead of the movie.
And because nobody sees Zorro movies. Or they could have been seeing the Antonio Banderas Zorro movie.
That would have been awesome.
But instead, they take their kid to the opera.
Right.
And it's fucking Deflatormouse.
It's a scary opera.
It's a bat themed opera after he was attacked by
he had
bats.
bat trauma.
What? And they're supposed to
called the Bat.
Yeah. Deflatormouse is literally the bat.
Yes.
And also a great Tick character homage to Batman.
Tick character.
Who, by the way, that character who became Batman in the Tick series is going to become the mayor of Gotham City.
That's correct.
Who I turned the corner at a Pavilions and ran into and went, I just went,
Nestor Carbonell.
Yeah, and I was like, and I saw him and I was like, all right, love your work. And then I just kept going. He's like, thanks, man. Because it was a real surprise to turn the corner and see the suddenly Susan guy. Just be like, oh, that was weird. I'm not normally like that.
Anyway, I'm going to keep doing my shopping. I'm going to buy some mayonnaise.
So we have the Joe Chill murder scene that you have to have.
Right, which has a cup. It's not the worst.
It's actually probably...
I don't know if it's the best, even though the Burton version makes it the Joker.
Yeah.
I feel like that murder is a lot like that murder scene. That version of the murder scene is more like effective.
It is because of the desperation in the character.
Yeah, and it's done with that. It's just like more haunting. Like this one has 2 insane reaction shots. When Joe Chill shoots them both, it cuts to this like where he's just like, okay, and now I turn. Like he has this like blank look on his face,
Yeah,
and
like,
he just
I
turns
don't know
and
what
runs
to do,
away.
yeah.
And then when it focuses on Thomas Wayne dying, like the way he dies is very strange.
It's like, don't be afraid. And
It's okay, don't be afraid. And he just has this weird look on his
I'd be like, help. If I got shot, I
Right.
would not be that calm. I'd be like, God damn it.
right, and he's a
Bruce,
doctor.
get some help. Hold that. And Bruce, by the way, is just sitting there like kind of like, this is fucked up, right? Like he doesn't have like he's not screaming. Also, the murder of Martha Wayne is very interesting because it's very Nolan shot, which means it's fast moving and you
Yeah.
can't actually see
What happens?
how like Thomas jumps in front because he's like, give me the jewelry. It's like fucking
Just take
let the
man.
jewelry.
You're a fucking millionaire.
you jumped in front of the I guess maybe it's to like don't point a gun at my wife.
Yeah.
But here's why this is very effective is because the Joe Chill character and something that we're going to revisit in this episode is kind of himself a socioeconomic victim of depression.
Yeah.
And
they make the point of that in the movie.
and in a way that's more complicated and therefore better because Bruce is very black and white
Yeah.
about this ahead of time. He's like, as we're going to find out, he's going to fucking try to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure does.
And he's like, like this guy is, and I think he's sort of learning the desperation. That's why we have the talk about him, like when he steals the fruit.
Yeah.
And he's like, the first time I got it, I understood. And
Yeah.
that I think gives a seemingly not previously seen view of humanity on Batman's views.
Yeah.
It allows the gray
Right.
in a previously explored black and white universe.
Right. In a very militaristic view of right and wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's just the reaction shots in the murder make it silly to me. It's like, well, we're gonna go. I mean, it's not as bad as in Batman v Superman, where they have like Thomas Wayne like actively cause the murder by like trying to wrestle the gun away from the guy. It's like, all right,
It's a very Snyder v. Nolan situation.
yeah. I like that this movie it has Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon. I like that this movie finally gives Gordon some respect,
Yes.
as opposed to like in the Burton movies,
Like
the
a bumbling.
he's just doddering Pat Hingle, like an old timey sheriff somehow transformed
Yeah.
into modern day Gotham City.
But here's the funny thing is that he just keeps saying it's okay to Bruce over and over again. And I want to be like, no.
It's not okay.
It's
man.
not okay.
I have literally no family. I have
Yeah.
a manservant.
Yeah, his parent.
I get raised by a butler. How
Yeah.
fucked is our system that I get raised by
Yeah.
the butler?
My parents. They are dead. Very dead.
Did they leave no instruction? Like nothing? He's just raised by the butler. Like that's
By my employee.
yeah, that's insane. Like I know like Alfred is essentially becomes his father figure, which is and Michael Caine as Alfred is great, but it's like just like the basic Michael Caine, Mr. Wayne,
Master Wayne.
Master Wayne, you can't do that. I won't follow you down. That's not magic.
You were only supposed to blow the bloody jaws off.
Just like the basic idea that he would just be sent home to live with the butler is completely fucking bonkers.
I'm assuming that he is godparent or
Yeah, right, his
there's-
guardian.
Yeah.
It's still,
But it's weird that
it's a
your parent is
bizarre-
your employee,
yeah,
right?
like because he's not.
Well, actually, here's the thing, and this is actually something that we're going to visit very, very soon. Is that Alfred is clearly the next of kin of Bruce Wayne,
Yeah,
and they bring that up because he says, luckily when they were like, I thought you were dead,
Like,
you've
don't
been gone
me.
for 7 years. That
I'll let you
there's
take the
something
ropes.
legally that is the transference of ownership, guidance, or whatever. Like it's there.
it's just
And then we find
bizarre.
out more
It's a bizarre
that,
situation.
Yeah, that they had a military butler. That's a weird.
right. When I was hunting a bandit.
So I also like that Rutger Hauer takes the moment to be like, "We'll be watching The Empire," and it's like always business.
It really
Rutger
like now
Earl,
we're at
Mr. Earl.
Mr. Earl. We're
Yeah.
at my parents' wake
Yeah,
at my weird museum house that I get to live in by myself.
Yeah.
Almost certainly haunted by my dead parents.
Yeah, I am a child, and I am
And you're
terrified and lost.
You're going to talk to me about the future of my business?
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm 10.
Yeah, I am a 10-year-old orphan.
Check back in with me when I'm 18.
Yeah. The training scenes are great because we cut back to training scenes.
Yeah.
And they're so good.
Well, they are really good, but they also involve a whole lot of sword fighting. And to me, that's really interesting and also hilarious because at the end of this montage, of course, the way that this ends is that Ducard / Ra's al Ghul / Liam Neeson is like, you gotta take in this dude. You gotta kill this dude, kill this criminal. It's like, no, I will learn to stop men like this, but I won't become an executioner. I'm like, bro, you've been training with a sword for months.
Yeah, what did you think the sword was going to do?
You're never going to implement any of that sword work, man? And I mean, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Which is strange.
Yeah,
because their training seems to be exclusively focused on sword fighting.
In 2004.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, I feel like
your parents got shot, right?
Yeah, they didn't get sworded to death.
They didn't get fucking karate sworded to
Yeah.
death.
My parents were stabbed by a rogue ninja.
Yeah, no, your parents
Didn't
got
happen.
shot by a desperate homeless person with zero martial arts training.
I like that Ra's hints at his wife.
Yeah.
That's a good nod to two movies. Like, he's like, in 7 years, you'll see this pay off.
This is really going to pay off in a big way.
Which I actually really like. I think that's a really good. I think that's a really good reference. And then so we get another flashback to the hearing, which is then going to have a flashback to him being younger. There's like it's like a weird inception.
He really incepts us.
Yeah,
Here.
it's
Also, college age Bruce looks weird.
he looks 30.
Like, they did something to his face.
They put more makeup on it.
yeah, like some
but
kind of
he
prosthetic.
Still looks 30.
But it's
Oh, you go back to Princeton, Master Wayne.
22-year-old Master Wayne,
22-year-old,
clearly in his
30-year-old Master Wayne.
Mr. Bane.
He looks old as shit. And they didn't even attempt.
They put big coats on him so you couldn't see the fact that he's fucking a linebacker.
Yeah.
like, underneath that overcoat. But yeah, it's always it's like I think it's like underneath his eyes or like his cheek. They do prosthetics on his face. He just looks strange.
Yeah, I don't know if I think it's just caked makeup. I think they just really went to remove all the lines in his face.
Well, I checked in the credits. There
you
is a prosthetics credit,
Okay.
so they did something.
On Bruce?
They didn't say it, just in general. A general
I mean, I'm
credit.
sure there are prosthetics.
Yeah. Yeah,
Even
you had people with facial wounds, and you got Mr. Zaz.
So Joe Chill gives his speech, which is like, you hate to say it because this is about Batman, but like, I mean,
Yeah,
he's not wrong. Like,
Well-
I get it. He's been in jail for what, 14 years
at least
for like
half of Bruce's life.
for a murder.
Double homicide.
It was a double homicide, and he's right. But and then they are like, oh well, we've got stuff on Falcone, and then he gets Jack Rubied.
He gets super Jack Ruby. That
But
lady
she yells.
she yells Falcone.
Falcone says hi. Don't
Lady.
you don't need to do that. That is called an implication.
The point is so that he can't implicate Falcone. So you don't run up to him and shout, "Hey, Falcone told me to shoot you."
Yeah, yeah.
And she like punches him with the gun too.
I think she's coming up like it's a microphone.
Yeah,
at
yeah,
first.
yeah.
It's a very.
Because he's got a swarm of reporters.
Anytime there's close-up violence, Nolan's like, shake the camera.
Yeah.
Just shake the
Which
shit out of
becomes
the
really
camera.
aggravating for Batman. I mean, it's effective in the one scene, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
Because the idea is supposed to be you're disoriented. You don't know what you're looking at. You're supposed to be seeing it from the criminal's point of view. But he keeps doing it for the rest of the series, and it just becomes irritating because it's like, you watch like the behind the scenes, like, we really scoured the earth to try to find a really cool fighting style for Batman to use, and we think this one's it. And it's like, we can't ever see what the fuck he's doing.
What is it, jump cuts?
Yeah, stop shaking the goddamn camera. Let me see Batman punch somebody.
Yeah, shaky cam and tight editing. That's the best
That's
style of.
Okay, incredible fighting style.
Yeah. So like Katie Holmes, like your system is broken, and Katie Holmes is like, fucking look
She's-
around, bro.
She's also kind of a dick.
She's a huge dick.
Like, she's
She's an asshole.
pretty consistent dick to him
Which
until she explodes in the second movie.
she's a 22-year-old.
Yeah, 22-year-old assistant DA.
Yeah, like
That's weird. right? Is she,
Sure, but
interning?
like, I mean, have
because
you?
they're supposed to be the same age.
Yeah, yeah.
And
He's
like,
still in college.
He's still in college, and she's already an assistant DA.
Yeah,
It's like-
what did you get? Fast track? You
Yeah.
an intern or
What
something?
are you, Doogie Howser in them?
Yeah, and then she takes him to Falcone Town,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Go ahead." And then he has the gun. Right? She slaps the shit out of him
Yeah.
because he shows her the gun.
Yeah.
He's like, "I wanted to take, I wanted to do it."
I want to kill him, and now I can't.
Yeah, and she slaps him. It's like she
Yes.
has a gun.
Well, I mean, he's not going to shoot her, but
I know.
but like she's never like I get her like she is right, but like she's so shitty to him about it. Like she just is immediately like, look beyond your own pain, Bruce. And he's like, he murdered my parents and
Yeah,
destroyed my entire life.
Yeah, you have parents.
Yeah, like I kind of like I get that Falcone's a bigger fish, but there's a huge part of me that's super opposed to letting the guy that murdered my parents out of jail.
And you're getting mad at me for having
And
a problem
yeah,
with
you're
it.
mad at me for being upset about that.
Have some perspective as
Right.
well,
Yeah.
Kate.
Yeah. Neither one of them has any any perspective.
The next scene, the scene that we're at now, the Falcone Town,
Falcone Berg.
makes not a lot of sense because it opens antagonistic and like it doesn't have to be antagonistic. Falcone is immediately like, go fuck yourself. Like, no gun, I'm insulted. It's like, you killed the guy that killed his parents. He might be here to say thank you.
Well, he says that.
There's no, well, he says, hey, you should be thanking me. It's like, you don't know he's not here to do that.
Yeah, well, he says something like, you could have sent me a card if you wanted to say thanks, or something like
Yeah, it's forced antagonistic, this scene.
yeah, I think, yeah, Falcone does go from 0 to 100 real fast.
Real fast.
Like, because, like, why, what reason, because he's like, no gun, I'm insulted. Like, what reason would Bruce Wayne have to come after Falcone at this
Yeah.
point? Like, no reason.
Yeah.
So he'd just be like, hey, kid, what you come here to talk to me about fear? Because I'm going to tell you a lot of things about fear.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Let's talk about that
fear.
that overreaching arc of
Yeah.
like fear. Fear will keep the local systems in line.
It's the Sesame
Say-
Street joke again. It's
Yeah.
like, this movie is brought to you by fear.
I also
the theme
want
of
to
the
say,
movie is fear.
I forget the actor's name. He's wonderfully
Tom
British.
Wilkinson.
Yeah. British guy.
Yeah.
Christian Bale, very British.
Yeah, super British.
Or Welsh or something. It doesn't matter.
He's Welsh.
Yeah. The best actors, Gary Oldman,
British.
the best actors that are like doing like the Falcone, like the Chicago. I like, by the way, that Gotham City has a Chicago accent.
Yeah, well, they literally film it in Chicago.
It's very
in Dark
Chicago, and as we're gonna see when we get the Dark Knight, it like when you meet Heath Ledger's character, he is clearly from Chicago.
Knight. Oh yeah, the way fucking talking like
feed them
James
to your
Cagney.
dogs, like Jesus.
Yeah, cut you up and feed you to your pooches.
Yeah, dogs. But like the acting is so good from these British guys, and I'm like, come on, America,
Yeah, step it up.
step it up, step it the fuck up. These British guys are running all over us.
Right, but so he sits down with Falcone, and Falcone's immediately like, "You see that? That's a judge. That's a police commissioner. And I would have a second's hesitation of shooting you in the fucking face." It's like,
Well,
that's power you can't buy.
now I know that there's a judge here. Now
Yeah.
I know, like,
Right.
you don't have to show your hand that much.
Like,
Just-
why? Like,
you know what? Why are you flexing on this kid?
this 21-year-old he's got his goons like on either. Like, he's not going to do anything, man.
Oh, and those goons beat him up for no real reason.
Well, he kind of tells him to, but then
I mean, but no, but I mean, yes, but like, why?
I don't know. Just to be
Why?
like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
And also, Rachel's on the radar really early, and they don't do anything. He's like, "What about your friend down at the
well, that
DA's office, or your butler?"
Why are you going to kill my butler?
Yeah.
Like,
Wait, my-
why do you know so much about me?
Well, I guess it's his job.
Oh, that's what he does say that.
Yeah.
Where he's like, you know me? It's like, you're the Prince of Gotham. You got to go fucking 5 miles, find someone that doesn't know your name.
1,000 miles.
1,000 miles,
He says
there you go.
1,000. You got to go. And like, but that's here's the interesting thing about this scene is it's a beautifully acted, insane scene.
It's,
For a scene with zero karate.
no karate.
Zero karate.
Most of this movie has zero karate.
No costumes.
Nope.
Nothing. it's probably one of the most insane dialogue based scenes, because when you really think about it, you're like, nobody would be doing this.
Right. It's a weird thing that he does. I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand why Bruce goes there in the first place. I don't understand why Falcone is so aggressive. Other than the fact that we need to establish this crime boss character.
And I've seen this movie a ton of times. I've seen dozens of times. I've seen this movie, and I've never, because we're watching these analytically, and I've never really watched them analytically. I start looking at it and be like, this is the crazy part. This is more crazy than choreographed ninja line dancing that we're about to see.
Because this experience is what makes him impulsively throw away, like, give his coat to Boris the Blade.
I looked at that and I was like, they got Boris the Blade in on this shit.
Sure did.
They got the bad guy. They got the bad guy from Taken 2 in this. Good for him. In like a bit part.
Yeah, a fun bit part.
Well, also, I like how Bruce is like, careful who sees you in my jacket, because they're going to think you murdered me and took my jacket.
Right. As I hand you the cash that was in my wallet. Like, he's not thinking about this guy's safety.
No.
Like, that guy's going to go to jail.
And then he just, also, by the way, that
runs onto a boat.
Just a boat.
Like a steamer. Did he stow away? Did he, like, work his passage? Like,
yeah, your money is
money
gone.
could have helped you, man.
I'm gonna need like 200 of this. You keep the rest.
Like he comes running off the boat and runs like, I'm gonna need some of that money back.
Just a little, like not all of it.
Not all of it.
Most of it.
Yeah.
But turns out I can't just hop on a boat and go anywhere I want. And what am I gonna eat?
Right, rats.
I was literally eating like Gary Oldman's like, oh, I learned how to do this when I was on a boat in Dracula.
Yeah.
Eat the people that are on the boat. Wait, what?
Turn into a wolf. And
Turn into a wolf and then eat the people.
Yeah, it's really sweet when you do that. So that's what carries him to Tibet.
And then we get more of a jump to, I guess, what you'd call the modern. Because the training is the actual in
current,
real time.
Like current, like real time. And that's, we're finally to the part where Ken Watanabe, as fake Ra's al Ghul, is telling him, you have to go to Gotham and burn it.
Well, we also... He says he's Bruce Wayne to the cops. Did you pick that up? When they're like, I don't care what your name is. You're a thief.
Yeah, he tells him that, yeah.
Bruce is dropping, he's
on
name dropping himself.
So like
often.
Like they're back in Gotham, they're like, we had you declared dead. We didn't know where it's like, you telling me his name didn't hit the AP wire when he tried to rip off a shipment of Wayne Tech? Like, billionaire tries to steal own shipment would definitely make headlines.
Yep.
Yeah. So the scene, like I like the Ken Watanabe fake out.
Yes,
but it provokes an important question. Do they work all this out beforehand? Like him and Liam Neeson, because they have this very theatrical show of being like, you're in charge. You're going to say, like,
I bet they're buds.
Are they friends?
It'd be like if you and I were running a criminal empire together, and like I had the idea, but you were like, you've been there, like, like this is your thing, but I'm just like, well, yeah, I'll help you out, and be like, all right, cool. Well, you need to yes and me on all this shit,
right? Like, as I was gonna ask, is he like an improv guy?
Yeah, I think he is.
Like, okay, these are the bits that we have to hit, but otherwise, just go nuts. Just
yeah. Make sure we round back. We're gonna have a couple of callbacks that we need to have. Mention the parents. That's gonna be a big thing.
Parents
for
are a big
him.
thing. Mention Rome and Constantinople, but other than that, it's loose. It's real loose. Have fun with it.
One thing that we sort of glossed over is the frozen lake fight scene, which is badass.
It's cool.
It's really cool. And
we see where he gets his gauntlets from.
We see the gauntlets.
Little spiked gauntlets that are used to catch swords.
Yeah.
If you're Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to take in this sword, bro.
Yeah, that's because that actually is going to be the cue to the end of the movie, is the being aware of your surroundings. You've sacrificed sure footing for a kill strike,
right?
And
then he just hits the ice and Bruce falls to the ice.
Now I like that they basically are like, get scared high, smoke the flower.
Yeah. Have a real bad trip.
Yeah. And then we have a choreographed ninja line dance.
You're right. It is like a choreographed, like, boot scoot boogie.
It is a exercise in insanity.
It's visually, it's very cool, but like, again, it's one of those things where if you think about the the basic fact of what's happening. It's like, okay, I'm playing hide and seek with you.
Yeah. And it's,
This is weird.
and like Liam Neeson's talking to him the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you have are you a ventriloquist?
It's also, this is his ninja graduation. So
Yeah.
like his final exam is get really stoned and play hide and seek.
Yeah.
Like that's his final exam. But it's within one room.
Within a square of one room.
Yeah.
It is,
A square of dudes.
I would say, 8 square yards of dude.
Some real dude yardage.
And then they like convince him to go to the box, and then just bats fly out of it because
Yeah.
he's afraid of bats. But like, maybe there were some real bats in there. Maybe
There probably were real bats in there.
All
Because
real
they figure
bats.
out what he's afraid of. I think
no, I mean, probably not.
he must. Well, I don't know.
I feel like the box is sort of like it represents what your fear is when you open it. It's like a boglin or something like that.
Yeah, I really.
Is that what it is? A bog? What's the name of the thing?
boggart.
A boggart. Yeah.
Boggart.
Ridiculous.
I think I do think that I want to believe that there are actually bats in there because I want to have in my own head canon a scene where Liam Neeson is like trying to find bats. It's like, no, we gotta get some. It's gonna be really fucking great.
this is
Get
gonna
some
be-
bats in this box.
I know this seems like a lot of work, but
Doesn't
the
have to
payoff
be a
is
lot
going
of
to be
bats.
out of control.
It can be like 3 bats. We just gotta make sure they get these bats in that box.
A couple of bats.
We're just a few
You
bats.
can't wait to see his face. I love where he goes, I will not become an executioner. And it's like, dude, you're going to be throwing out concussions like it's your fucking job.
He absolutely murders several policemen.
A lot of people. Oh,
We'll get to that in the second episode.
yeah. But like, you're a savage assailant. Like, you're not an executioner, but like, you're right there. And
Yeah.
like,
You're
Bruce survives on technicalities, by the way. His conscience is clear specifically because of technicalities.
Right, he's because I think he's like a 4th or 5th generation rich kid. He has no concept of consequences.
Yes.
So he can be like, I don't kill, but like fucking forearm someone in the throat and be like, that's what you get for stealing a purse, and then just leave. And like, no, that guy's gonna drown on his blood, man. Like,
That guy's going to kill himself for sure.
like later when he terrifies Flash, the crooked detective, by stringing him up and then, raising the alarm. That guy's like pretty overweight. You're gonna give him a heart attack probably.
Yep.
Like,
the very least, he might lose that foot
Yeah.
from an infection or something.
that man cannot take that level of stress that you're dealing out.
His
on him
body can't take one leg being held by a wire.
for that long. Indeed, few people can.
No. Bruce also kills everyone, so he doesn't have to kill one guy.
Yeah, he kills everyone in that temple.
I would say most everyone is dead.
Yeah,
There are some that survived,
obviously.
but realistically speaking, he killed all his ninja classmates. He killed...
Nobody signed his ninja yearbook then.
I also like that Ken Watanabe's Ra's al Ghul is fucking him up, and
Yeah.
then he gets saved, and he's like, that was me, I did that. Did you, Bruce?
Because the fucking roof fell on his head.
Yeah,
I feel like
I don't know if you remember this, but an explosion happened 6 feet behind him.
Yeah.
He went flying under a falling timber. That was not a batarang
I
that
feel
took
like-
him out.
I feel like he was gonna kick your ass.
Yeah, he was in the middle of beating the shit out of you and
Right.
basically got the Tibet equivalent of getting hit by a train.
Yeah.
And then so he does the whole like,
Remember that time I beat that guy? It's pretty cool.
Yo, I fucked up Ra's al Ghul. He's dead. I watched him die because I killed him. Even though I don't kill.
That's an amazing scene that we will also talk about.
yeah, oh yeah. Look, man, I'm really looking forward to next episode because next episode is where shit unravels in a very interesting
like
way.
the back half of this movie is really insane.
Yeah, it's here's how insane this is that I have a bit about the ending of this movie that I did a while ago that it's all in there because I can't let go certain things from this movie
right.
and I'm really excited about that. But we get back to the private jet
Yeah.
because once you blow up your karate resort, it's time to not change, still be covered in mud, and have your private jet with your butler waiting.
Yeah. Who thinks you've been dead for 7 years?
Yeah. And then
We didn't even get a ransom.
and he does the as a symbol he does the gotta be a symbol. And it's
well,
like,
that's what, and it's it's
yeah.
what Liam Neeson was telling him. So
Yeah.
you're like, okay, he's appropriating all of this.
And then Alfred's like, and you'll need a mask. You're gonna need a mask.
You're gonna need a mask.
Oh, for Rachel? No, for me. I'm selfish. No, I'm doing a bit. Yeah, for Rachel.
He does. Alfred's got jokes.
Alfred's pretty good.
Alfred's got jokes in every iteration.
I will say I like the Zaz nod.
Yeah, I feel like I had that note in here too.
Zaz actually plays a really big part in Nightfall.
I would have wished. I mean, it's nice that they dropped Mr. Zaz in here, but that's like he's a real creepy villain. So it's like it would be cool to.
He's not big enough.
He couldn't be the main villain.
Never.
But like he could have had his own creepy story.
I feel like this is the actual
appropriate use of
appropriate amount of use. Is he is a straight up psychopathic creep. They have the scars on there. Okay, real quick. Some of you might not know Zaz. I just realized that
kind of an obscure character.
he is a serial killer who he kills exclusively with knives, and then he uses the knife to carve a notch on his body. You know, like the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then cross out the 5. So his body is covered in essentially body scarring that he did of all of his victims. And in the comics, he's covered in them, which means he's a massive serial killer.
Yeah, he also positions the bodies in like still life. He makes it look like.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes it's depending on who's writing it.
The
write in-
storylines and they do it in the Arkham games too.
Okay.
They have him.
And I remember in Nightfall, he's like a really interesting. He's in the very beginning of Nightfall. He's one of the first, I think, right after the Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
And that was really probably my biggest introduction to Zaz. You know, is sort of like reading Nightfall back in the 90s and being like, this guy is fucked up.
Yeah.
So I like that they have him in there.
Yeah.
And then you get one of our favorite characters on the entire pod,
the fucking
friend of the
Scarecrow.
pod, Jonathan Crane shows up.
The Jobs creator, and he is. Even in this, he's a Jobs creator.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that.
He's-
Jonathan Crane shows up. Cillian Murphy might be a little too handsome,
he auditioned for Batman.
and then they're like, "We're throwing you in on this."
Right. Obviously, no one likes him because he puts him in Inception
puts him in everything.
Yeah.
He's another British guy.
Yeah. I
Of
think
course.
he's Irish.
Oh well,
But it's
depending on how you believe in colonialism.
Right, yeah. I 100% support it. Yeah, he's a bent psychiatrist, as they say.
Yeah.
Crooked psychiatrist.
The crooked psychiatrist. Yeah.
He
on
gets
on Falcone's payroll,
basically.
but not.
But yeah.
As we find out, he's actually, as we are going to find out, a subsidiary.
Yeah.
He's a subsidiary
He's a franchise owner.
of League of Shadows Inc.
Yeah.
And he's a French.
Yeah.
And we get a very short introduction. Here's Crane. He's fucked up. Anyway, back to Batman discovering the Batcave in a suit.
Yeah.
Throw on some sweats.
They sneak in another line about. I just realized we've each only done one thing. I think my second thing was the idea that this is the only Batman movie that's exclusively from Batman's point of view. But they go real quick when they find the Batcave. It's like, they take the elevator down there. It's like, yeah, your grandparents had this put in when they were transporting slaves.
Yeah,
in the
Underground Railroad.
It's like, all right, can we stop
Yeah.
can we stop making the Waynes the greatest the most noble family that's ever lived?
And is my knowledge of the Underground Railroad wrong? Did they need to be that north?
well, because Gotham's supposed to be in New Jersey, right? So it's like, maybe? I don't know.
I as a former history teacher, now I'm embarrassed that I forgot. I didn't do a lot of American
I don't know. It's just,
history,
I mean,
but
it's not on its face.
I guess the Fugitive Slave Act
yeah.
might.
I mean, yeah, definitely pre-Civil War where you would have to still,
Yeah.
but it's. Well, pre-Civil War would be the only time the railroad was important.
No, it's those
Tom, geez.
post-Civil War
Right.
slave laws.
Yeah. No, it's there's nothing wrong with it on its face, and it is actually kind of a clever way to explain why there's a pre-existing series of tunnels in addition to
Yeah.
this giant cave. It's just that, and when you have that on top of the train scene that we talked about earlier, where it's like we're the
They
fucking
are.
princes of the
They're-
universe.
It's thick. They
It's
are
like,
laying it on
we
real
get
thick.
it. They're the best.
Um,
All right.
We get the Scarecrow to Falcone's like trying to make the project happen bit, and it's
Yeah.
just like, hey man, This he's motivated. He's got employees.
He does.
He's doing good for the company and good for the people.
Yeah, you know what? His Scarecrow he's creating jobs. He's got to get guys. They're smuggling in the gas inside of stuffed animals.
It's real interesting.
Well, because they're hiding it in drug shipments.
There's drugs and then there's fear toxin.
Yeah.
And the bunnies are the fear toxin and the bears are the drugs.
Solid.
Yeah. So it's probably heroin
I assume so.
because it's coming from
Coming
the Golden Triangle.
Sure.
So we get
The whole reason Britain had Hong Kong.
Yeah.
The Opium Wars.
Boy, I did one of my research projects on the open door policy on the Opium Wars, and I was just like, man, fuck us.
Yeah,
Fuck the Delano family, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Their family made a lot of money on the opium trade. Anyway, American history is filled with garbage. If you haven't learned that by now, fucking read
the main takeaway here is that Scarecrow there's a lot of unemployed and underemployed people in Gotham City, and Scarecrow is offering them something.
He's getting them jobs.
He is.
He's like, hey man,
flexing that franchise muscle.
We need some work done. You seem like you need some help. Come on in. A chicken in every pot.
Sure. Can you guard stuffed animals with a machine gun? Then you're hired.
We will train on the job.
Yeah.
I would have loved for him to have that voice.
Right.
Yes, we'll train you on the job.
It counts as billable hours.
We do matching contributions to your 401k. Then we get a Wayne back to Wayne Enterprises thing where he's just like, applied sciences, please.
Yeah, this might be another one of my things is every time he goes to see Lucius is just sitting aimlessly in that basement.
Yeah.
When later on in the movie when Rutger Hauer goes down to fire him, he's doing some kind of microscope shit so we can assume he's making a fear toxin antidote.
Yeah.
But before he's just sitting there what the fuck could he possibly be doing? Because they're not making any of this stuff anymore. So is he just endlessly working on an Excel workbook?
I think
just we still have, inventorying things. What could he possibly be doing?
Yeah.
All the other computers are covered in plastic.
I'll tell you what, though. He was waiting for someone to come down that was interested because he immediately is like, check out all our cool spy shit.
Yeah.
That's
why did we build this? I don't know.
Yeah. Here's some Kevlar armor. There's no reason for me to be showing this to you. I have no idea that you're here for vengeance.
Here's literally a tank.
Yeah.
And also a big driving arena that we keep in the building.
Oh, that over there? This is a grappling gun. No reason you should be seeing this, but it's kind of neat. 350-pound test line that we will violate consistently during this entire series.
Oh, yeah. He has...
That 350-pound test line thing is loose. It's a loose 350.
Yeah.
Because Bruce Wayne's coming in at a solid 220.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you carry anybody else that isn't 110 pounds.
Right.
I can only save women and children. I literally can't carry anyone else with me. I gotta come down a bit. I got too enthusiastic putting on masks. Really gotta boost that cardio.
So they have Wayne Tech and Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox just rules over a basement of impossible technology.
There's something here. This is my second thing, and it's something that I have brought up before, but this is really where it starts to become very visible, is that Bruce is not very secretive about his secrets.
No, he just blunders in there.
He opens to a lot of people, and actually the ending of this episode is going to end on the same thing, where Bruce drops hints, and there's a ton of them in the next one, too. The next episode that we're going to do. But when he goes I'll jump ahead when he goes, nice coat to the other guy. It's like, fucking.
Don't tell this guy that you're Bruce Wayne, man.
Yeah, you don't know if he grabbed your wallet out of that fire.
Yeah.
He could have checked to see who you were. You just show. Look, man, he's cool.
He lets a lot of people into his inner circle. And
he's a lot.
He's so obsessed with what Katie Holmes thinks of him.
It's
it's
stalking.
Is your mission one of justice, or do you really want this lady to think you're cool? It seems like you really want her to think that you're cool.
Yeah. we get a flash to Flass. We get the good Flass scene, which is
man, Flash is collecting his protection money.
yeah. The Flass character
Mhm.
is interesting because he's a character exclusively to Batman Year One.
Right.
He's
he
a
is Gordon's
blonde
partner.
linebacker, and he gang beats the shit out of Gordon, and then Gordon fucks him up.
Mm.
In that's how Gordon is shown as a badass in the Mazzucchelli Frank Miller
Year One.
Year One. And in here he's the slobby guy from Sons of Anarchy. He's great. Like he's actually the actor is really fantastic and like the
Yeah.
character's really done well,
Yeah.
but he's so opposite of what Flass is physically.
Yeah.
Probably it doesn't matter. Who cares?
It's because it's not the same character.
Yeah.
It's
It's the same. It's Jim Flass. It's
yeah.
Gordon's crooked cop partner.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's fine.
Other than that, it's Gordon's like just kind of along for the ride.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I don't snitch, but I'm not going to be on the take.
Yeah.
Which I get. I mean, that winds up biting him in the ass later in The Dark Knight.
You should fucking snitch.
Yeah, you should, man.
You,
The crooked cops are going to really fuck shit up for you in The Dark Knight.
yeah, and then we have the Batman Year One. Like he shows up behind Gordon
Yeah.
and is like, oh. And I'm going to get to my third point, which is a point that I have carried with me for the entirety of my existence of knowing about Batman. Is that he's like, what do you need? And he says, a DA brave enough to prosecute. And this is where we will bring up the fact that in no other world other than fiction is a district attorney a skeleton key of justice. Only in here, because DA, if somebody says they're a DA or they work for the DA, no matter what, they get carte blanche to do whatever they want. They can cross whatever bridges they want.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm with the DA. Oh, sure, go into the
They're weird
fucking-
cops.
Yeah.
Like what do you think the DA does? Like I don't get, like they are so aggressive about the DA.
Yeah.
And that's something that the Batman franchise has always fucked with me about. It's like what does a DA do?
They
exactly?
prosecute people on behalf of the city and the county.
Sure. Yep, they sure do.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
They're lawyers.
On
And
behalf of the district.
They're medium superheroes in
Sure.
the Batman universe.
Yeah,
and that always blew my mind.
Yeah,
It's
they
like,
they really are elevated. And sure, that's important.
They're doing press conferences all the time.
It's yeah. People are really go ahead.
I can't name one real DA.
Right, and that was the point I was about
Oh,
to
was
make.
it?
Like as we talked about in several of the episodes of the animated series that we did, like the cops and like the attorneys in Gotham are all celebrities. Like people, all like average people know who they are. So like
But they don't know Bruce Wayne.
and they don't have Bruce Wayne. But like it becomes a bigger thing in like Dark Knight because fucking everyone knows who Harvey Dent is, and it's like, when have you ever known who your district attorney is?
Never.
Never. You never know who that is. You don't even pay
Yeah.
attention when that vote happens.
Yeah. We get introduced to the Tumbler,
Yes.
which I hated when I first saw.
I still hate it. I think it's the worst Batmobile.
It's grown on me. The worst.
Yeah.
Schumacher, pal.
Mm-mm. At least Schumacher
Really?
didn't have a weird thing where you have to lay down.
That
and shoot.
the weapons system on that
Is
is
dumb.
the dumbest thing in the world.
It
That's
makes
actually
no sense.
next week we will discuss.
Yeah.
But the style is what I'm saying of the Tumbler. I actually
it's not.
it makes more sense to me than it did when I first saw it. When I first saw it, I was like, you just did the Dark Knight Returns and made it smaller and shittier. And
yes,
they actually
but
the use of like it's a bridge building thing, so it has that sort of upwards propulsion that gives it like a
it's
jumping
got like a
thing.
JADO.
That works for me. The fact that it was designed, the fact that Wayne Enterprises, while he was gone, became military developers at the time,
Mhm.
like it makes sense because that's where the money is. They talk about it in the
They
board
do talk
meeting.
about it in the board meeting.
And then everything gets scrapped because their stuff is so good and so expensive. And that's interesting about this.
Yeah, he says something about this is like military didn't figure that a soldier's wife was worth $300,000, however much it was.
It's like you can't cut some corners, Lucius. Never mind. That's
No,
not.
that's not Lucius's department.
Did we get the scene? Because it's basically a getting it done montage of him getting his gear real fast, but he's grinding batarangs
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like an efficient use of your time, Bruce.
No, that would take him hours
To
to
do
make like
one.
10.
Yeah.
Like,
And like they're not even weighted.
Nope.
They're not.
they're just pieces of scrap metal for all we know that he's just using an angle grinder to
But-
just like make it into a bat shape.
like they're bottom heavy.
right.
Like that's a thing. Like if you don't have an equal weight distribution on your throwing item, it's going to get weird. That's why footballs get fucked up sometimes and they get all wobbly and stuff. You know, like you need to have even weight distribution, and that's why
The aerodynamics of thrown weaponry is something that Batman movies have never really explored.
the Batarang in of itself is nonsensical
Yeah.
in that you're hoping that someone finds them. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I don't
'Cause, like,
well, I mean, he's so brand conscious that everything has to be bat themed.
I mean, that's, I guess, if you're from a family that has stamped its name on everything,
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
It's
Dad said the first thing was good branding. You get your name out there so people know it. Yeah. No press is bad press.
yeah, right, exactly. It's oh shit, I had a thought about something and then I've forgotten it. Oh well.
Batarangs, throwing weapons, branding.
It had something to do with all that. But I think the Batmobile grew on me. This particular version of the Batmobile, it was cool to drive it in Arkham Knight if you played that game.
Okay.
It's pretty sweet. They have
Yeah.
they integrate the Batmobile, so that's pretty cool. But like seeing it in the movie, it's just, I mean, the Batmobile's always kind of been sort of the antithesis of
It's an impractical vehicle, such to the point where in the Burton universe, he needs grappling hooks in order to make tight turns.
right, because it's so stupid.
This is by far the
He's
most.
driving around in a jet-powered
Yeah.
stretch limousine.
This and exactly.
Yeah.
Number one, it's you know what it is? It's a fucking one of those
a
like
boat.
racing cars.
Yeah,
the
oh,
ones
yeah.
that that you do a quarter-mile races.
Right,
the ones with the jet
drag
engines in the back.
chutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember what those are
That's
called. but-
that's what that is. Or in the Schumacher universe, they were basically glow sticks.
yeah, they were
Um,
electric condoms.
Here, here we at least have a practical military applied
Yeah,
vehicle. It's just it looks chunky, and that's not what we're used to with Batman.
it's
But
well,
it's
there's
grown on me.
we're getting to the end of part one. And this is going to tie into my last point. There's the Batmobile and all of his assorted vehicles and some of his gadgets and stuff. There's like two different versions of Batman that can't coexist, but they always coexist.
He two-faces himself.
It's the silent night predator, and then it's the fucking military Batman.
Flashy jet guy. Yeah.
And he does both in everything. And it's weird that we let Batman get away with this.
I think it's fine.
I mean, it's great. It's fine. It's fun, but it's so strange that we have there's two different versions of Batman, and we both like accept them. We accept them both at the same time.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah. Yeah. Is he a myth? No, he's right there on a billboard.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, he's driving 150 miles an
Yeah.
hour in a tank
Yeah,
down
yeah.
the street.
Yeah, he's on the news.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't believe in the bat. It's like, oh, his car is right
So
there.
he's a man driving a car.
Yeah.
Like that's a costume.
Yeah, that is
But so
with his fat Bruce Wayne face pudging out of the. We're not there yet. I'm sorry.
I was leading into that because we're about there. His official debut as Batman.
Yeah.
Which is where this episode ends. This is the coolest way to introduce Batman. It's such a good setup and introduction where
Yep.
it's on
It's on the docks.
the docks amidst all the shipping containers where he's picking them off one by one, and it's like a slasher movie because
Yeah.
you don't see him. It's all confusing.
It's very confusing, like the black.
Yeah, and you don't quite see him until the end, and like the villains are afraid.
Something that they do really, really well in this that actually Zack Snyder does really well with the Batman character is the fact that Batman in what he's wearing can actually hide right in front of your face.
Yeah,
And it takes you a second to be like, what is that?
yeah.
And then it comes
And
out
then
at
it's
you.
this huge growling man leaping at you.
Because that's one of the things like they do, and you have the da-da-da-doom, like, where are you?
And he's like,
Here.
yeah, Great.
That's the sneak preview that they
Yep.
gave at the cons. That
Yep.
was like the teaser trailer, and that was bonerific.
Right, because it was a version of Batman we hadn't seen in a movie yet.
And it was a cool scene.
And
The stealthiness of Batman we never
see
really
in movies.
had. Yeah.
And they never do it again.
I mean,
it's such a cool setup and introduction, and that version of like I was just talking about, there's
Yeah.
two different versions of the character. We tend to see the big bombastic one in all the movies.
Yeah.
But this was the first time we got to see like the silent, like stealth ninja stalker
Yeah.
Batman, and we fucking never see him again.
and they actually even converted that to the video game.
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
Batman Begins video game is a stealth video game.
Oh, and then the Arkham games, you get
Yeah.
to do the
but-
the silent predator
Yeah,
stuff.
but they
we call
did
it.
that in Batman Begins. It was a very Metal Gear Solid-y kind of game.
Yeah.
Surprisingly decent video game based off of a movie, which is very hard to get.
They were going to do a Dark Knight one, but they abandoned it. From what I read from content, which is strange, because I don't think the Dark Knight. I mean, there's some.
You're like, oh, this is MA13 or MA17.
Yeah, I don't think the Dark Knight's any worse rating wise than this one was.
I think it is.
Do you? Oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
There's more.
No,
there's
like
some more
the
intense
Joker
violence.
really
Yeah,
ramps up a lot of the
it's pretty
violence.
intense.
Yeah, never mind, because that's in 3 weeks. We'll be
Yeah,
discussing
we'll do
that. The light bulbs getting broken with the batarangs, the physics do not work for that because he is above the lights.
Yeah.
And breaking the bulbs
He has
with
to, like,
batarangs.
do some of that wanted shit.
Like it would literally have to be, it would have to be a boomer, a literal orang of a batarang in
Yeah.
order for that to work.
an actual boomerang and not a throwing knife.
And then he shoots down, grabs the guys, fucks them up. Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. Because he grabs
He
Falcone,
fucking rips through the car and gets him.
headbutts him in the face
Yeah.
with the ceramic cowl that we already said was getting fucked up.
That has a scowl molded
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah, that was weird.
It's like the eyebrows painted on the Adam West one.
We don't want people to know that you're wearing black eye makeup.
We don't want it to seem.
And then
You're happy wearing this.
and then
It's got
he-
to look scary.
so we have I'm Batman,
Mhm.
which would be where we end this episode.
Yeah.
I'm Batman. And he delivers it well. And
Yeah,
he
it's cool.
headbutts an old man
He headbutts the shit out of Tom Wilkinson.
Yeah.
Which is great.
who's got an old timey shotgun.
Right. He's so old, he's using like a blunderbuss to try
Yeah.
to defend himself.
I'll take care of him with this old British hunting rifle.
Yeah.
That is a $30,000 gun that you have right there.
Right.
That's
You
a
can
collector's
Take that
item.
on an Antiques Roadshow,
Yeah,
man.
that's
Don't
from-
shoot at Batman.
It's one of
with
those guns from Lockstock.
it. Yeah. I think Tom Wilkinson is in one of those, and he's in Rock
Yeah.
and Rolla.
Yeah. Of course he is.
Of course he is. Like, why wouldn't he be in every British crime movie? So yeah, I mean
That's it.
it's a cool
We-
reveal to Batman.
we
it's
got
an
to
hour
Batman,
build up
yeah.
to Batman, and it's a little. I think it's a little slow.
I don't. I actually think the Batman stuff is
The
slower
Batman
than the
stuff is
building
slower?
up stuff.
I don't know. I think I don't know. Something about this, watching this one in particular seems slower to me, even though the other two are longer. And I think it's become slower because of the sequels, because so much of this movie is building up to when you first even see Batman.
There's something interesting about why this movie doesn't seem fast to me, and it actually kind of clues you in when you look at the scene selections in the DVD, is that they had to break this up into 40.
That's too many.
It is, but that's because there's a ton of different scenes, so everything moves fast. Like you're going from like ninja school to now I'm at the opera to now
Yeah.
I'm getting beat up to now this is there's so much shit happening that I don't have time to get bored because I'm moving on to the next thing really fast.
That's true. It's also a tight 2 hours.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. And so this is very close to scene 20. It's almost divided right in the middle.
Sweet.
And so that's it. So we're going to see you next week. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud or iTunes, if you're listening to this as a free episode, please check out Gamefully Unemployed on Patreon.
Yeah,
Tom, you did the bumper, I'm assuming.
I did,
the
but
beginning.
one more time.
Yeah.
If you go to our Patreon and kick us $5, you get every episode of Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, as well as some other
As
stuff.
a lot of
we're
stuff.
working on.
Yeah, like there's a lot of really cool stuff on the Patreon. I am a patron of the Patreon that I am on, and not just to listen to my own show, because I get those for free.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoy a lot of the gaming stuff on here. So we decided that we were going to offer this episode for free, even though we gave you a free episode last week.
Yeah.
we're proud and we're showing off, and we want you to come join us for the rest of the journey.
Exactly. Oh, and we have T-shirts too.
Yeah,
Check
Tom
out,
and Jeff Watch
You
Batman.
can get some Tom and Jeff Watch Batman T-shirts at tpublic.com. Gamefully Unemployed. We got a bunch of shirts there.
Yeah.
So come listen next week to part 2 of Batman Begins.
See you next week on Batman Continues.
Batman continues
yeah.
to begin.
Yeah, Batman starts to continue beginning. My friend used to, when this movie came out, called it Bateman Begins, and it was the funniest thing in the world to me.
I read that a lot of places.
Yeah.
It was
Fair enough.
good joke. Good
It's
joke.
a good joke. It's a good bit.
Good joke, everyone. 2005.
Hey, see you next week, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
What the hell are you? I'm Batman. Nice coat.
Our artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.